The individual thunderstorm cells are going to continue to race north, and we will see Bertie County, parts of Craven, parts of western Craven, parts of Beaufort County, eastern Pitt County, up into Martin and Bertie County favored for the possibility of some severe weather over the next hour. Let's go back up and track what's going on in Bertie County right now, because we're concerned. Askew is right up here northeast of Windsor. Colerain is where State Road 45 and State Road 42 cross. You can see 42 into Colerain, 45 into Colerain from the south, and 45 into Colerain from the north. Rather limited access to there. Trees down over the roads causing the rescue people to have a hard time to get in there. But here comes the squall line. Now, once this gets passed, everything's over for these folks, and they'll be able to resume their rescue efforts.
Up here is one of the hardest hit areas. There were several people who died in this area. The trees, you can tell, are just split. They practically look like toothpicks out here that have just been split in half. Several homes are missing their roofs. They just have blue tarps that had to be put over them to protect them from the rain that started to come down. A big issue has been trying to get the trees away from these houses. You can see there are residents out here. They're all trying to pick up things from their houses, collect really anything that they can, which, if you can imagine, if you put yourselves in these people's shoes, how terrible it would have to be to see everything you've worked your entire life for is gone. This was also someone's house up here. You can still see some of their siding has survived, but the rest of the house is just completely demolished. Where we are right now is just one section of Knowles Farm Road. You can see off to the side, this house has actually had some of the wood completely ripped off of it, and it almost looks like it's been thrown back into the tree line. Over on my other side, on my left here, you can see there are pieces of the house, even some of the carpet hanging from a branch off one of the trees. But everything that these people had was lost. It was pulled out of their houses, or their houses were just shredded. So everything that they had out here is gone. A consistent sight are these massive piles of debris along the sides of the road, stacked up 6 feet high or more. Inside, pieces of toys, clothing, the remnants of their homes that are now erased.
911, where's your emergency?
We've had a tornado pull through here and blew our door off.
It was one call after another to 911 after several tornadoes ripped off roofs and left a trail of damage in the Falcon Bridge community in Craven County. You can almost sense the panic from one mother after a tornado damaged her home.
How old is the baby?
The baby is 7 months old. We just need rescue now. We need somebody to come over here and help us.
What type of injuries does the baby have?
Is the baby okay? The children are okay. The more of the shock of the tree going through the roof, through the house, through the baby's nursery. That's what hit us.
When you look at all the damage, it's hard to take in what a lot of us had to go through that stormy evening as the rebuilding and the cleanup continues. Another call to 911 illustrates how tough it can be for dispatch to gather information after an event like this.
911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I think they may have just gotten hit by a tornado. I'm not really sure.
You think what?
Hit by a tornado or something.
Is anybody hurt?
No, we're okay.
Is there any damage?
Yes, there's a lot.
But when the power goes out, it's pretty tough for this caller to see what has really happened to her home.
Is there a tree on your house or anything like that?
I think so. I see limbs. Everything's black, so I'm not positive.
And though the storms were scary for many, it's always reassuring to know that help is on the way.
I've got people trying to get to you, okay? The roads have power lines and trees down. They're having trouble getting to you, but they're coming.
In Craven County, Demenis Brown, News Channel 12.
What's on the horizon for this family is unclear. Right now, they have a tear-soaked variety of hope.
No, it's never enough till you bring them home alive.
Him being William Foster. Foster and Matt Jamison were on harvest time when it capsized Tuesday in the Pamlico Sound. Jamison was found Wednesday morning clinging to the overturned hull. The man for whom these tears are shed dove under the capsized boat in search of life jackets and never resurfaced. The search for Foster was suspended Wednesday afternoon. The Coast Guard is investigating as to what went wrong out there on the Pamlico Sound. It's the waiting. The news doesn't change, but with every lap of the tides, another second ticks away. The memorials at water's edge, a grim reminder that the water takes lives, always has, always will.
Trying to do the best, keep hope.
A dangerous way of life, this way of the water. A woman who says she talked to Jameson at this hospital says he suffered wrist damage from clinging to the boat to life throughout the night. But 24 hours after being stranded in the Sound, he was in a hospital recovering, while Foster's family only gets to wonder. In Craven County, John Erickson, News Channel 12.
This is going to be a big storm, and it is going to have a dramatic effect on the east.
And we have crews all over the east tonight. They will be tracking the storm along with Skip.
We're getting some very heavy rain here right now. It just kicked up in the last 5 minutes.
Things definitely getting much more intense.
There were a few businesses and restaurants that are still open.
There is a mandatory curfew at midnight tonight. Anybody seen on the island will be told to either go home immediately or they'll be arrested on the spot.
You're getting to get another band of moderate rain that's going to sweep across you now, and then a couple of bands of heavier rain that will blow across you in about 90 minutes.
Skip, well, you talked about blowing it out of proportion. We're not trying to blow it out of proportion here. I'll give you the straight facts as to what's going on right now. The fact is, it's getting windy here at Atlantic Beach.
Really starting to see the teeth of Irene here. She is knocking down trees, taking out debris.
Wind gusts coming down pretty good right now, and the rain pelting pretty hard.
That water has nowhere to go except up, so you're going to see that creek take another big jump here.
As you can see, the breakers are coming over the wall right now.
Steady waves are continuing to crash under this pier. At some time over the night, Irene just picked it apart.
Unfortunately, the rain and the wind has not let up, and until it lets up, it's unlikely that any of these problems can be solved.
When you see that most people's things are being kept in their front yard instead of their living room, you know that this is a scene that means there has been extreme flooding. We talked to one family, a family of 9, who in this flood brought on by Irene simply lost everything.
It'll be all right, okay?
Suzanne Bevan.
Like heaven, but with a B.
Her feet muddied, her home ruined.
It's just a disaster.
Her 8 kids, for now, homeless. I'm sure they were scared, were they not?
Yeah, they were all screaming and crying. They thought we were going to die.
Hurricane Irene brought waist-deep floodwaters to the family's Pamlico County home. As that water took over the Hoboken area, she grabbed her children one by one.
I stood like this and let them get up there.
Bevan says the storm took everything she had. Well, the possessions at least.
It just flooded everything out.
So where do you go from here?
I have no clue. Who's going to take in 8 kids? And me.
In Pamlico County, John Erickson, News Channel 12.
Just remember, like, crying, going, you know, oh my God. Like, I thought there was no way we would get it. No way. But we did.
At 4:45 Saturday morning, Chris Miranda got up to get his son a drink when he heard a crack.
But I felt like I was in a jet plane that was crashing. It was that loud and that horrific.
His 2 young boys were asleep in the master bedroom.
And luckily I was standing and awake, and when I went to go grab them, that's when everything came down.
He dragged them from the rubble to a bathroom on the opposite side of the house.
My youngest one had blood all over him, and I was really scared, but when I checked him, it was my blood, so he was fine. My other son didn't have a scratch on him.
They took cover in this music room inside their garage.
Called it like the hurricane room, because this is the safest place to be.
He had a critical decision to make: stay here and wait out the worst of the storm, or run through 70-mile-per-hour winds to his neighbor's house. In the end, he and a neighbor grabbed his kids and ran for it. Through it all, his boys stayed calm.
They just looked up to me like I just saved their life.
Now, Miranda isn't sure where they'll live.
But, you know, my kids are fine, so that's all that matters.
What do we do now?
That was one big question Portia Strickland asked herself when Hurricane Irene blew through her mobile home park in Deep Run. 1 month later, she shows us what's left of the place she used to call home.
Most of our furniture, everything's beds and stuff, all of them got messed up.
Strickland is still emotional about all she's lost.
Coming over here and seeing it's depressing again, but it'll get better. got to get better.
Proof of the damage from the pieces of insulation and patches of mold are still present inside the home. Outside, there is one big thing missing. Strickland is left without a roof over her head at her old home, but she has family nearby that she's able to stay with while she figures out what's next.
You go for a ride, David Darrell. When you're my age and you got to live with your kids. Get it, David, get it. That's kind of depressing.
Even though the view from her living room is gray from the mangled roof, Strickland sees a bright future ahead.
They say everything happens for a reason. Maybe it's my daughter's getting ready to have her first baby and she needs mama's help, so.
Strickland says she doesn't know where she would be without her family. Now she waits for her new beginning.
You just go on with life.
In Lenore County.
It can't stop.
Shamirio Ratliff, News Channel 12.
Time may have changed Thomas Noe, but it is his time fighting in World War II that he will never forget. He is one of hundreds of local veterans who has flown on the honor flight.
But it's one of the most appreciative things that I think that was happened to me in a lifetime.
And it is the lives and sacrifices the honor flight hopes to remember. Norman Parnell was a prisoner of war for 465 days in Germany during World War II.
Took me to Frankfurt, Germany, and I was in solitary confinement for a while.
He says he often thought he wasn't going to make it out of the POW camps alive after watching his fellow comrades die.
And two guys, I guess they weren't thinking, they forgot about the time and opened the door and went out, and when they got on the way to the latrine, they shot him.
That is why seeing this memorial means so much to these veterans. It is their moment to reflect on the time they spent fighting for our country and remembering those who didn't make it home.
To me, the heroes, we never came back. They're still over there.
And for many of the veterans, the most emotional part of the journey is their arrival home, to a sea of flags and grateful thank yous.
When we landed in Newbern, though, that was the most wonderful experience I've ever had in my life. I can't just think right now and get goose pimples, really, from it. People just lined up and greet us. It was just amazing. He's just a good boy, good person.
Rayford and Lily Jarman remember their son, 24-year-old Jerry Jarman. Troopers say he was killed after an SUV hit him while he was riding his motorcycle.
I don't want to know how to tell you. It just make me feel rough. Make it bad.
Rayford says hearing the news of his son's passing was difficult.
He didn't make it. I'm telling you right now, it was a mess.
Jarman's parents tell us Jerry was on his way home from a party in Kenston when an SUV came barreling towards him and hit him from behind.
Troopers are not sure if Jerry was moving at the time of the crash, but they say this SUV hit his motorcycle, then hit a utility pole. Both the motorcycle and SUV flipped several times before landing beside a food mart across the street. Jarman's sister-in-law, Stephanie, holds on to the good times.
He was somebody everybody liked. Everybody enjoyed his company, and he was really quiet, but he'd do anything in the world for you.
Jerry's dad says when he wasn't out riding his bike, he was out jamming with his band. Memories that will help Rayford and his family get through the tough times ahead.
He'll never be forgotten. As long as I live, he won't.
As this chopper took flight, winds from the rotor blade sent flyers and money sky high and blew a tent right into the camera. So when Cherry Point said the results of its investigation won't be made public, we called Becky Sherrod, who almost had her hot sauce booth torn apart.
It was like a tornado went through there. I mean, people's papers and money and everything was all swirling up in the air. And people were running everywhere.
The incident sent 4 people to the hospital and knocked 1 person unconscious. Becky told us she wants answers from the Marine base because this wasn't the first time the chopper caused chaos at the Chili Festival.
This happened 2 years ago, that his tent got blown away and it got crushed, and a lady beside him who was selling ceramics, all of her ceramics fell on the ground and broke.
The Marine base refused a request for an on-camera interview, but said that changes will be made to make the chopper's next public appearance safer.
There are two parts to this investigation. The first part deals with safety flaws that need to be fixed in the future, and the second part helps lawyers prepare for lawsuits that may be filed against the base for what happened at the Chili Festival.
Reaction to the news also came into our Facebook page. Tina Murphy Guthrie said, quote, "I'm sure they have a good enough reason to not announce it to the public. Some things are better left unknown." What is known is that at next year's festival, Marines plan to make sure the chopper is the only thing that goes airborne. Katie?
Well, on Friday, 9-year-old Jordan Landon and her father Doug went on a quick trip to the store, but it was 2 days before the pair was found in an overturned car. Doug was dead, but Jordan had survived on Pop-Tarts and Gatorade, waiting for help. A car accident turns into a battle for survival. Our cameras capture rescuers surrounding Doug Landon's overturned car. He's dead inside, but his 9-year-old daughter Jordan is alive.
And she said she tried to dig her way out too, but she couldn't. She said she was pinned underneath the car.
Pinned literally upside down by her seatbelt. The only food Jordan had was Pop-Tarts and Gatorade the pair bought at a local store. A surveillance camera in the Jasper Mini Mart captured some of their final moments together. They had their Pop-Tarts and Gatorade, and they sat down at this table for several minutes where they talked and played scratch-off tickets before they finally took their things and left. When they didn't come home, Jordan's mother, now sick with grief, went looking for the two. In the process of searching, she even crashed her white truck into a ditch less than 100 feet from where Jordan was pinned in the car.
I'm sure Jordan could hear the sirens and everything and hear the police talking on the radio, and she was sitting right there.
No one saw this car until Sunday night when a passerby called it in. Troopers say Doug was going over 100 miles per hour, but family and friends of Doug say they don't believe it.
He wasn't speeding. There's no way on God's green earth he was speeding.
Family friends say even in Doug's final moments of life, he was trying to protect Jordan when the car crashed.
He was curled in a ball with one arm like this right here and the other arm pushed out to where, you know, and yeah, he was trying to hold her and trying to keep her protected. He was a good father.
A father whose brave little girl found strength to survive. Now, Jordan's mother told me that Jordan is okay. She only had some scratches and some cuts, but emotionally she is very upset that she has lost her father. And Jordan's mom was adamant that her father would not have been reckless. He would not have sped with his daughter in the car. Now, Highway Patrol has sent a trooper up to the hospital to talk to Jordan to see if she can offer any insight on the moments leading up to the crash. For now, we are live in the newsroom. Katie Jeffries, News Channel 12.
Douglas and Jordan Landon had just visited the Jasper Mini Mart there at the bottom of your screen. News Channel 12's Jamie McCutcheon continues our team coverage. She has details now on their last minutes together.
Val, that Jasper Mini Mart is just 2 miles from where the crash happened. Jordan and her father stopped there Friday night before heading home, and in that time, we get a look at the love and the everyday last moments between daddy and daughter.
He's a very nice person. I mean, he don't really say much. He get what he want and leave.
But store owner Haram Hagib tells us on Friday night, Douglas Landon and his daughter Jordan were in no hurry to leave the Jasper Mini Mart. The two shopped and hung out at the Mini Mart for almost a half hour. At one point, the store's camera catches Jordan brushing something off of her father, as only someone like a daughter would do. In another moment, we see Jordan alone reading a newspaper. Then Douglas Landon is standing at the register, paying for a counter full of items. Jordan walks over to help her dad with the 3 bags. The two have a seat and spend several minutes scratching off lotto tickets together. At one point, Doug Landon twice lowers his head, and twice Jordan playfully taps her dad on the brim of his hat. The two get up a few moments later. It's then the camera catches a moment perhaps Jordan will always remember. The little girl walks up and hugs her dad, leaning on him for several moments. Daddy and daughter then leave the store, carrying their bags that held the Pop-Tarts and Gatorade Jordan would survive on during her 44 hours trapped inside their wrecked car. While those items would help sustain her, store owner Hadim Hagib believes that's not what saved the little girl.
A strap and a seatbelt hanging upside down in the car for almost 3 days. I think that's God's miracle. I mean, it can't be my Pop-Tart or my Gatorade. It has to be God's miracle.
And we know the family is so thankful for that miracle tonight that 9-year-old Jordan survived the crash. That crash site is just 2 miles again from the Jasper Mini Mart and just a half a mile from the family's home. Val?
A very touching story tonight, Jamie, and thank you for those images as well.
If you're just joining us, ECU is on lockdown. There was a gunman spotted near campus at 5th Street and Reed Circle. News Channel 12's Adam Yosem is live on the phone with us. And basically, our latest update is that police have guns with them and they're going into the buildings and searching right now. Can you elaborate for us once more?
Yes, still don't know if they are ECU police officers or GPD. We know both are coordinating in these efforts to spot this gunman, but I have seen a few police officers with what looks to be rifles going from building to building. We spoke to ECU Police Chief Scott Shelton about 15 minutes ago. He was very brief. He had to go other places, but he did tell us that officers from both departments are doing a sweep of campus building by building to make sure everything is safe. Right now, I see an officer about 30 feet in front of me with what looks to be an assault rifle. They are just going from building to building to make sure everything is safe and find out what is going on.
We also are going to be joined right now by one of our photographers here. Suraj, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am, Anna.
You have some new information right now on the ECU lockdown. Go ahead.
I just got done talking to Sergeant Williams from the Greenville Police Department. He says they have confirmed through their traffic cams that they have a picture of a guy with a backpack and what appears to be a long weapon. Now, they're not sure if that's an assault rifle or a shotgun. One of the callers who called the call-in this morning described the weapon as an assault rifle, but according to Sergeant Williams from the Greenville Police Department, they're just describing it as a long weapon.
A long weapon. Okay, can you tell us where that traffic cam is that they took the footage from?
That I don't know.
Okay. Well, we want you to stay on the phone. We're just getting some new information as you look at the new video that just came into our newsroom. A very active scene. You can see police here with assault rifles. You can see them putting on, suiting up their bulletproof vests, their protective gear. Suraj, one of our photographers here at News Channel 12, joins us live on the phone. Just gave us some new information that through a traffic cam in the area, we're working to confirm exactly. Say that again. Go ahead.
And I just checked with Sergeant Williams, and the traffic cam was on 5th and Reed, right outside of Subdogs, that they saw the man in a backpack and what appeared to be a long weapon walking around. Now, the caller who called the police department this morning at about 10:15 described the weapon as an assault rifle, but that's not confirmed by the Greenville Police Department.
A dangerous incident has been reported on the main campus.
Well, I was sitting in English class.
Like, what's going on? I'm shaking.
A highway patrol helicopter flies overhead as our cameras are on the ground, capturing the chaos and commotion of a university in lockdown. Officers taking aim with their rifles, swarming about downtown, where a gunman was spotted just before 10 Wednesday morning. Here's what it all started over. A Greenville traffic cam captures a man casually walking downtown near campus, but take a closer look and you can see a long object sticking out of his bag. 2 witnesses said it looked like an assault rifle.
The person was not a threat and was not carrying a weapon.
That object turned out to be an umbrella, but for hours that was uncertain.
The campus is on lockdown until further notice.
The campus was a ghost town. Most students and teachers remained indoors. A huge sigh of relief around 1:30 in the afternoon when that subject was spotted and questioned. The lockdown was no more. Police tell me everything went according to plan, but there were some obstacles, including social media.
We had reports on campus of hostage situations. We had reports of gunmen on buses. All those were fictitious.
All this over a man and his umbrella, but police say it's an example of better safe than sorry.
We'd rather have this 10 times over than to not have someone call and something tragic happen on campus or here in town.
Get to a safe area and take safety precautions.
In Greenville, Adam Yosem, News Channel 12.
ECU email and website for details and updates.
Imagine walking to class and hearing this message.
This is an ECU police alert. A dangerous incident has been reported on the main campus. The campus is on lockdown until further notice.
I was on campus during the lockdown when I found Junior Devin Reed of Philadelphia upset.
I'm shaking. Yeah, they had this huge machine gun and they were riding on backs of cars.
That was the reality for ECU students. Student life was on hold as police and deputies swarmed the campus.
I seen police officers wielding M4s, telling everybody to stay away from the windows and whatnot, so we took it pretty seriously then.
During the campus lockdown, students say they felt mostly confused as to what was going on and if the alleged gunman was indeed a threat.
What's going on? I have no idea. I've heard rumors about hostage situations.
Facebook was to blame for a rumor about a hostage situation on a bus. Kelly Willard and her 2 children were escorted by police off the transit bus.
We heard the sirens. Thank God Greenville ECU has that, because they said that just everybody hit the ground because they didn't know. They heard boom, 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 boom.
Willard says she's happy how police put safety first. Some students thought the lockdown was a joke, while most students just wanted to make sure everyone was okay.
Hopefully we all stay safe and they catch them.
In Pitt County, Jasmine Spencer, News Channel 12.
Thomasina, can you come here and say hello?
If you ask around the town of Davis about a girl named Thomasina, it won't take you long to find out what this girl is all about.
Thomasina, can you come here, Thomasina?
She's our local celebrity here in Davis.
Come here, baby girl.
She's a runaway from home.
She may only have 2 legs, but if you get too close, she'll leave you in the dust.
You're gonna fly over to Miss Nadine's.
Thomasina isn't your typical turkey hen. In fact, she enjoys eating sugar cookies when she can.
Gobble, 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 gobble. Time? Come on, girl. Here. Can you catch him?
She wandered around this small community about 6 months ago and never left, finding a home here at the Davis Shore Provisions General Store.
She has made it through the hurricanes, dog attacks, car being hit.
Thomasina nearly drowned during Hurricane Irene, but what concerns people the most is how Thomasina crosses busy Highway 70. She struts back and forth to eat or check out the scene at this convenience store so much that Overby bought and posted these turkey crossing signs to alert drivers.
And one day we come up and there was feathers all around the front of the store, and I'm kind of worried either she had got run over or...
So why did the turkey cross the road? Well, we thought we asked Thomasina herself. Thomasina, have anything to say? Anything? Well, I guess she has no comment. People aren't quite sure where Thomasina came from, but since she's been here, she's attracted a lot of attention.
I used to love to eat turkey sandwiches and do turkey, but this year we're having oysters and steak. We're going to eat more beef and not turkey this year.
It seems as if Thomasina has turned the tables this Thanksgiving. In Carteret County, Demenis Brown, News Channel 12.
He's as much of a holiday icon as green wreaths, as bright lights as St. Nick himself. But as iconic as he might be, an appearance from Frosty played by a real man drew a response that was anything but jolly.
My husband said somebody's going to call the law on this guy.
Corbin, County 911. Man walking with a cane he has on his top hat and a bag over his head like a snowman face with a long carrot nose. It scared a little girl.
Christina Squires thought the man was there to rob her.
I looked out and he had a snowman covered over his head like had come off one of the inflatable ones.
And then he left. But after the one-man parade down Vanceboro's Main Street Sunday night, Frosty disappeared as fast as snow would melt in this rain.
So we heard rumblings around town of who Frosty is in real life. We found him, and he says in walking these streets, he really meant no harm.
Happy birthday! Merry Christmas!
He happily took off his mask to reveal Jeffrey Acker, a man who says he simply wanted to spread the holiday spirit.
It was nothing done ugly or nasty. I mean, look at it. It's Frosty.
So he said, let's run and have some fun.
It's sunrise at Onslow Beach on Camp Lejeune. Marines wait with vehicles to their destination 5 miles offshore.
You know where we're at, sir? You're probably better off to go around this side.
Their chariot, a Navy watercraft called an LCAT, which stands for Landcraft Air Cushion.
Staff Sergeant Heath Sell is in charge of getting 101 vehicles to the ship. How fast the Marines load the vehicles is the goal of this exercise.
Instead of maxing out the weight for all of these LCACs and trying to cram them all full, we've actually gone lighter so that the actual onload time and offload time is much faster.
The maximum weight on an LCAC is 75 tons. That's about the weight of 38 cars.
You guys ready? I'm ready. Deck's clear.
The ride to the USS Iwo Jima is a little bumpy, but rather calm to the sailors. The flat bottom of the LCAC lets you feel every wave at 40 miles per hour. The ship seems to swallow us as we enter the well deck. Unloading the hovercraft is like a puzzle because more than 100 vehicles must fit perfectly to maximize the space.
The 24th MEU load every type of vehicle they need to prepare for deployment, from the smallest of Jeeps to the largest of tanks.
Deployment is on the minds of the 24th MEU. Commanding Officer Colonel Francis Donovan knows the training exercise could be interrupted by a phone call.
So we have to be ready for not only to train right now, but ready to pick up and go right now if we had to.
When our country has an emergency, the 24th MEU is America's 911. Lance Corporal Michael Petersheim says it keeps him on his toes.
It's kind of exciting and nervous at the same time. We don't really know what's going to happen. We've had a few scares before, like we're going to go provide hurricane relief, or we're going to go do something like this. You got to be ready, to go tomorrow.
The destination of the deployment is unknown. The mission may range from war to welfare.
And so crisis response can be responding to an embassy that's in trouble. An ambassador says, I want to reinforce my embassy with some Marines, or I want to be pulled out of an embassy. We can do that. The ambassador might say, hey, I need help building a school.
It's the second cycle of training, and a third is scheduled soon after, if they don't deploy first. Aboard the USS Iwo Jima, Tori Shaw, News Channel 12.
I'm Storm Track 12 meteorologist Demetis Brown tracking a warm-up in the forecast. How high will the temperatures rise? Details coming up. News Channel 12 at 11 starts right now.
Accurate and reliable. This is News Channel 12 at 11.
A historic church reduced to a pile of rubble. How a congregation affected by Hurricane Irene rebuilds.
Plus, President Obama visits Fort Bragg on a historic day for America's fighting men and women. Good evening, I'm Wes Schofield.
And I'm Valentina Wilson. Welcome to News Channel 12 at 11. The war in Iraq is winding down. Thousands of our troops will be heading home over the next few weeks. President Obama marked the end of the war at Fort Bragg today, thanking troops for their service.
So as your Commander-in-Chief, and on behalf of a grateful nation, I'm proud to finally say these two words, and I know your families agree. Welcome home. Welcome home. Welcome home.
Nearly all U.S. combat troops in Iraq are set to be home by the end of the year. News Channel 12 talked to some people in Jacksonville to get their take on the president's speech.
Long one. The President of the United States. Fort Bragg, we're here to mark a historic moment. For nearly 9 years, our nation has been at war in Iraq.
It's ridiculous in this day and age that 9 years of war.
I'm proud to finally say these two words, and I know your families agree. Welcome home. Welcome home.
I think it's a great thing for him to come back home to be with family, especially this time of the year.
I think it's easy for him to say that the war is over.
I think it's bull.
Convenient, the time.
It's politics. We're coming up on an election.
Over the last few months, the final work of leaving Iraq has been done.
God puts people like our president in command to execute these things.
I'm happy that they're saying that it's over for the time being.
I think we'll be there for a very long time. I don't think we can pull out.
What has changed? Why all of a sudden are we saying it's over?
I could not be prouder of you.
They served their time, they done their duty.
I just hope that, people can deal with it and move on and get back to a happy medium.
God bless you all. God bless your families, and God bless the United States of America.
In tonight's Fact Check, we look at statistics on the war in Iraq. According to the UN, since the beginning of the war, close to 4,500 American soldiers have been killed in Iraq. More than 33,000 have been wounded. The Iraq Body Count Project says more than 100,000 Iraqi civilians have died as a result of the conflict. This year, there was an average of 6.5 deaths per day from suicide attacks and vehicle bombs. Between 2003 and 2010, there were more than 1,000 suicide bomb events in Iraq. The Iraq War has cost more than $1 trillion, which breaks down to more than $3,200 per American taxpayer.
A Beaufort County congregation begins the long path to rebuilding history. The Dublin Grove Original Free Will Baptist Church stood in Aurora for 133 years, but lingering damage from Hurricane Irene forced the congregation to tear down the original building. News Channel 12's Mike Valerio is there today. Talk to them about their plans to rebuild. He's in the newsroom now. Mike?
Well, Wes, people thought that the church's white steeple and sanctuary could be saved, but almost 4 months after the hurricane hit, both of those structures had to be torn down, but this congregation isn't going anywhere. A pile of rubble is all that's left of the oldest Free Will Baptist Church in Eastern Carolina. It's where Dublin Grove Sanctuary used to be, with a steeple and stained glass windows. But after Hurricane Irene, that building teetered on the edge of disrepair.
Wooden pegs, no nails, just a beautiful old structure, well maintained through the years, but it had some age on it.
133 years to be exact. Reverend Earl Sadler has served as pastor here for 5 years, and he told us about the moment when he and a friend talked about tearing the building down.
We sat down on the front pew, and it was a very emotional time for us, and he said we might have to take the sanctuary down, and of course my reaction was, no, we can't do that. The people can't handle it. They couldn't stand it, and he told me that they're strong and they'll do what God's will is, and they're going to go along with it.
When people started going through this 8-foot-tall pile, they found pieces of wood more than 200 years old starting to rot from the inside out. That's why some people say moving into a new church is really a blessing in disguise.
We feel like that his will was that we move on, and that the sanctuary possibly could be unsafe with its age, and we feel like there's something bigger and better for us.
Plans are already in the works to rebuild. The new structure will move from where the pile is now to this open spot. But as the sun sets on what's left of the old church, its pastor and members know the church isn't a building, it's the people. And it will take a lot more than a hurricane for them to give up.
We keep looking forward. This hurt is very painful, but God is there for us, and his will is going to be done.
And while the pile is being cleared, the congregation is having services in its fellowship hall right next door. And as to what you can do to help out, the congregation says it does appreciate donations, but more importantly, appreciates prayers. Now reporting live in the newsroom, Mike Valerio, News Channel 12.
A real walk of faith, Mike. The church has insurance to cover some of the rebuilding costs. Several members have attended Dublin Grove for more than 80 years.
The chill is in the air tonight, but we're tracking a warmer day tomorrow. Meteorologist Dennis Brown is tracking the changing temps from the Storm Track 12 Weather Center.
Hey there, Valentina. If you're about to head out the door, you grab a jacket. It is quite chilly out there. We're at 37 degrees in Kenansville and Greenville right now, 45 in Washington, 41s for Kinston and New Bern, Richlands and Jacksonville this evening. We have a few high and mid-level clouds kind of streaming across our skies. They're so thin that we're not going to see any rainfall for tonight. Winds are calm. Could see some patchy areas of fog by the time that we're getting started in the morning, but should not be that big of a deal. Now the warm-up, there you go, upper 60s, lower 70s by the afternoon. And we have a cool down in the forecast along with some showers. Futurecast is on the way.
New and developing tonight on News Channel 12 at 11, military officials investigate the death of a Camp Lejeune Marine. Officials tell us 32-year-old Gunnery Sergeant George L. Fagone Jr. was found unresponsive at his home Sunday. He was taken to Cape Fear Hospital and later transferred to New Hanover Regional. The Marine died Monday of complications. Fagone is a native of Stockton, California. He joined the Corps in 1997. He was assigned to the 2nd Marine Special Operations Battalion at Camp Lejeune.
Also new at 11, Jacksonville police make an arrest in connection with 2 home break-ins and 1 attempted break-in. 50-year-old Andre Lamont Turner of Jacksonville faces several charges. Those include breaking and entering, larceny, possession of stolen goods, and possession of cocaine. Officers arrested him yesterday as he was riding a bicycle near one of the homes. Turner is in jail tonight on $40,000 bond. Police continue to investigate the break-ins. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers.
And we continue to follow the details tonight in a car crash that killed a Craven County father and trapped his 9-year-old daughter for 2 days. That crash happened on Highway 55 near Cove City, November 11th. And tonight we know that a state toxicology report shows there was no alcohol in Doug Landon's body at the time of that crash. His daughter Jordan survived by eating Pop-Tarts and Gatorade until she was rescued. The DOT is deciding whether to install a guardrail along the curve on Highway 55. Investigators say they're working on a report that should be out by mid-January.
New details on a story we first told you about last month. A former top fundraiser for Governor Bev Perdue enters an Alford plea to a felony obstruction charge. Peter Reichert of Greensboro is accused of funneling $32,000 in illegal payments from a wealthy Perdue donor to pad the salary of a full-time campaign fundraiser. He was Governor Perdue's campaign finance director at that time. A Wake County judge accepted Reichert's plea and gave him a suspended sentence. The district attorney says the criminal cases against 3 others with ties to Governor Perdue will move forward into next year.
Well, for the first time in 2 years, we hear from Michael Jackson's daughter.
The most memorable thing that your dad said to you was?
How Paris Jackson answered that question.
Plus, shooting flames and thick smoke back up traffic on a busy freeway. Details tonight on a tanker truck explosion.
I'm Storm Track 12 meteorologist Demetrius Brown, checking out the temperatures on Storm Track 12 Live Doppler. Chilly tonight, warmer tomorrow. Details coming up. You're watching News Channel 12 at 11.
Checking the facts to get information right. You're watching News Channel 12 with Valentina Wilson, Wes Goforth, Storm Track 12 Chief Meteorologist Skip Waters, and Brian North. News Channel 12, accurate and reliable. Alerting you to severe weather dangers in eastern Carolina. This is Storm Track 12 meteorologist Demetrius Brown.
Take a look at this shot right here, taken by our photographers here, of the 80% wind in gibbous moon. Yeah, this is over New Bern, looking towards Bridgeton, the Neuse River here. Kind of a nice look out there, isn't it? Kind of illuminating the nighttime sky. Well, go ahead and check it out. Just grab a jacket because it's quite chilly out there. High temperatures today mainly made it up into the 50s. And we got the Christmas food drive going on as well. Let me just tell you about it. Yeah, we'll talk about it in just a second. It's tomorrow, so keep that in mind. High temperatures into the 50s, lower 60s. Right now we're at 37 degrees in Greenville, 41 in New Bern, 42 degrees in Havelock, and 41s for Richlands and Jacksonville this evening. It's chilly. And as we continue moving through tonight, early tomorrow morning, you'll need to grab a jacket. It won't be quite as cold as the past few mornings, but yeah, 30s, 40s, some patchy fog possible, and just a few more days until we have that Christmas break. As we're starting at the day, we're going to at least see temperatures in the 40s, and then we're going to see the mix of sun and clouds. Temperatures into the mid-60s by noontime and highs into the upper 60s to near 70, well above average for this time of year. Now take a look at some of the current temperatures across much of the nation. We have 28 in Denver, and we have 64 degrees in Memphis, 70 in San Antonio. You can tell there's a sharp cold front here, and some of this warm air ahead of that cold front will be moving our way heading through tomorrow. The cold front is also producing some showers well off to our west, and it will slowly move into our area, mainly going into Friday. Now, before the front, we're going to see some warm air, breezy conditions as well, and that front will drop in very slowly and kind of linger towards our area and around our area going into Friday and early Saturday with periods of rainfall along this front. Otherwise, some unsettled weather, cloudy skies, and a little bit of drizzle, cooler weather once the front passes through. So Storm Track 12 Futurecast, hour by hour, we're going to see a few clouds for tonight. They're going to be high and mid-level clouds. We'll call for some sunshine tomorrow. We'll call for some patchy clouds into the afternoon. Then working our way into Friday, we're going to see partly to mostly cloudy skies with the front trying to enter the state and kind of stalling out just a bit near our area with some periods of rainfall, light to moderate across the area. Heaviest and near places north of Highway 70 along 264. And then once the cold front passes through, we'll see some areas south of 70 getting in a little bit of this rain action. Not expecting a whole lot and not expecting any thunderstorms. Once the front passes through, we'll see gradual clearing in your forecast. On the planning forecast, we're going to show a warm up there and also a cool down after the front into the lower 50s heading into Sunday. And then we'll see another chance of rainfall by the mid part of next week.
Well, the weather will be just fine tomorrow for the food drive, and we're inviting everyone to head to the pantry and stock up some items. The Share Your Christmas Food Drive begins tomorrow morning.
9 o'clock tomorrow morning, just a few hours away. The Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina, News Channel 12, and our radio partners join efforts to help people in need again this year. And here we go, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning until 8 in the evening. Bring your canned goods, non-perishables, baby supplies, and paper products to these locations in Greenville, the Food Bank at 497 West 9th Street.
In New Bern, stop by the Food Bank at 205 South Glen Burnie Road. That's just north of Noose Boulevard behind Furniture Fair. In Jacksonville, well, just head to our newsroom. The address is 406 South Marine Boulevard. For more information, head to our website, WCTI12.com. You'll find it at the top of the webpage.
And News Channel 12 visited a local church that's collecting food for families in need during the holidays. Abby Leary is a member of Goodness Outreach Pentecostal Holiness Church in New Bern. Hurricane Irene badly damaged her home in Pamlico County.
It's been a blessing to me, and it's been a blessing to a lot of people. And I don't think we should let pride get in our way, because I feel like this is just another blessing from God.
Well, the church has already given, get this, 80,000 pounds of food to needy people in our community.
Some good work going on. Well, people are still talking about the infamous wager at the latest GOP debate. We're following more fallout tonight after Mitt Romney's $10,000 bet. Details on this airplane banner that's making headlines.
And when you see news happen, let us know. 800-738-6840, the number. Email us news at WCTI12.com. You can also comment on our Facebook page.
Thanks for staying with News Channel 12 at 11. I'm Valentina Wilson.
And I'm Wes Goforth, and details are developing tonight on the road to the White House again as Mitt Romney takes aim at Republican frontrunner Newt Gingrich. Democrats take aim at Romney. ABC's Jake Tapper has details.
Mitt Romney today took a new tack against his opponent Newt Gingrich. Mockery.
Zany is not what we need in a president.
In an interview with the New York Times, Romney sought to turn the concept of Gingrich as a bold, intellectual ideas man into that of, well, kind of a kooky entertainer.
Zany is great in a campaign, but in terms of a president, we need a leader.
Making fun of an opponent has become a popular form of attacking this campaign season.
Two men trapped in one body.
As Romney surely knows, since that's the main way Democrats are going after him. When the big dollar donors went to a Manhattan fundraiser for Romney today, if they looked up, they saw this airplane banner, referring to Romney's now infamous $10,000 wager.
10,000 bucks?
Democrats are mocking Mitt by mischief making, though of course they insist this is all very, very serious.
I don't think that calling this a stunt is really very fair. Campaigns are all about getting your message out.
Why all this vicious humor before any Republicans have even voted? The latest ABC News Washington Post poll shows unfavorable views of Barack Obama inched to their highest level of his presidency. Democrats have to make the president's opponents appear even less favorable, so they're seeking to discredit them, including, ever since his surge, Newt Gingrich. The president has tried to seem above the fray, but top Obama campaign advisor David Axelrod, he said this, quote, "Just remember, the higher a monkey climbs on a pole, the more you can see his butt." So the speaker is very high on the poll right now, and we'll see how people like the view.
Jake Tapper reporting tonight. Meantime, a tanker truck explodes and burns for hours, shutting down a California freeway. The tanker hauling gasoline caught fire today just east of downtown Los Angeles. The concrete on this overpass also exploded from the heat of the flames. The California Highway Patrol says the driver and passenger escaped with no injuries.
All right. Exciting news tonight for a singer from the Tar Heel State.
Oh, yes. Details on why Fantasia Barrino is celebrating tonight.
An American Idol winner from Guilford County is enjoying motherhood again.
I guess you could say she's singing a familiar tune.
Okay, yeah.
High Point native Fantasia Barrino gave birth to a baby boy yesterday in North Carolina. His name is Dallas Xavier Barrino. He weighs 7 pounds 9 ounces and is 21 inches long. Barrino revealed her pregnancy back in August at a concert in Jacksonville, Florida. No word on the identity of little Dallas's father.
And tonight we hear from Michael Jackson's daughter, Paris. We saw her as a little girl wearing a peculiar mask. At 13, she's ready to talk about life behind those walls where her father shut out the crowds. David Wright has the interview.
She's the freshest face in Hollywood, even though her dad was once the most famous man in the world. Michael Jackson fiercely protected the privacy of his children.
Do you remember wearing a mask going, this is kind of weird?
Yeah, I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I wearing a mask?
Right.
But yeah, I kind of realized the older I got, like he only tried to protect us.
It wasn't until his memorial service that we finally heard her speak.
And I just wanted to say I love him so much.
That was 2 years ago. Earlier this year, Paris Jackson told Robin Roberts she's ready for her own showbiz career.
You want to be an actress?
Yeah. I'm thinking about auditioning for a play next week.
An ambition her famous father nurtured, as she tells Ellen DeGeneres.
Did you tell your dad you wanted to act?
Yeah, and we did improvs together, and he would give us little scenarios, and he's like, okay, so in this scene you're going to cry, and I'd cry on the spot.
You could cry on the spot?
Yes.
That's impressive. So then you got away with all kinds of things. Then he didn't know if you were really crying.
Paris Jackson is now promoting her first film, a movie version of a favorite children's book. Half the proceeds will be donated to public schools.
The most memorable thing that your dad said to you was?
He said, if I die tomorrow, always remember what I told you. And I took his advice, and I remembered everything he told me.
Now she's poised to follow in his footsteps. David Wright, ABC News, Hollywood.
An update now on a story we've been following since last week. Some flight attendants aren't happy with actor Alec Baldwin. Now they want his show 30 Rock taken off American Airlines flights. Baldwin was kicked off an American Airlines flight last week when he refused to turn off his cell phone. The Association of Professional Flight Attendants says it fully supports the flight attendants and the way they handled the situation. The union says it would retract its petition to remove 30 Rock shows from flights. That's if Baldwin issues an apology to the attendants.
He's just a lightning rod for controversy.
He seems to be.